One of the most underrated games of this weekend is Tulane against Memphis. You're looking at two 4-1 teams that are looking to gain control of the AAC. They sit atop the AAC and definitely are the front runners to win the championship. And now they face off in what should be a really entertaining game. You get Michael Pratt back for Tulane. That has been a big addition for a team that's looked pretty solid even without him. Their defense plays a huge role in their success. Tulane stops the run very well, and they are able to limit explosive plays. I think Patrick Jenkins is having another good year. Everyone knew who he was, and yet he is still finding ways to be explosive. The one loss against Ole Miss obviously hurts, but that defense did a really good job of slowing down Ole Miss's offense. And Patrick Jenkins and that defensive line were extremely disruptive. They'll find that Memphis will have some of the similar struggles that Ole Miss did, and how many times they're disruptive could determine what this game ends up being. I think Tulane is very good. I think they're a very talented team. And when you look at the numbers, the havoc rate and the stuff rate, it proves that they are doing exactly what they need to do defensively and getting after the quarterback, stopping the rushing attack. And if they can do that against Memphis, this game should be an easy win if they're able to figure that out and do it again. For Memphis, you have to be able to make explosive plays, but you're looking at the amount of talent they have. Seth Hennigan obviously is a solid quarterback, a veteran quarterback, and Blake Watson has been a breakout player for them. He has been very good in both the run and passing game. If you can find a way to have fewer turnovers, that will be a big key. But this offense has been really explosive. Rock Taylor has been a great, fun, emerging player for the Tigers, and he will play a big role as well. The offensive line plays a huge role, and we'll talk about that more in a bit. But the defense also has to find ways to limit explosive plays. Chandler Martin having a good year for them. And so far, Memphis hasn't really been able to put many teams away since they played Arkansas State. They've struggled against Navy, they struggled against Missouri, and they struggled. They actually need a special teams touchdown to beat Boise State. So this is a team that obviously leaves something to be desired on the defensive side of the ball. There's certain things that they need to improve upon. But when you're looking at Tulane and Memphis, and when you came into the AAC this year, you expected these two teams to be at the top. At least I did. I thought that UTSA, Tulane, and Memphis would be at the top of this conference. UTSA obviously has been disappointing so far, but Memphis and Tulane have not disappointed. This has been two of the better teams in this conference, and we could see a rematch regardless of how this game goes. And Tulane is no stranger to rematches as they won the AAC against UCF, a team that they lost to earlier in 2022. So they're no stranger to big games. Memphis is trying to get back to that big game. And Ryan Silverfield, this is a big game for him because if he loses this game, you kind of start having questions about, is he able to win those bigger games? Can he get this program elevated? Because one of the things that Silverfield has done okay at is getting talent on this roster and finding ways to get guys to campus, but he hasn't been able to put it on the field. Now you're facing a Tulane team that's defense is ready to make sure your life is miserable for most of the game. You have to find a way to combat that. And we'll talk about more of those matchups here. Matchup of Michael Pratt versus Seth Hennigan. These are two quarterbacks that have plenty of experience under their belts. They have to find ways to help their teams. They will face some explosive front sevens, and you're going to have to find ways to get the ball out quick. You'll have to get your playmakers involved, and you'll have to make smart decisions. One of the biggest matchups in this game, though, is Patrick Jenkins and Jacob Likes. Patrick Jenkins has been a phenomenal addition from the transfer portal from Oklahoma by Tulane, and Willie Fritz has made sure that his star continues to be successful. This staff has done a great job of letting him do his work and elevating his game to a higher level. Jacob Likes has not faced a talent like Patrick Jenkins. This will be his toughest test to date. And if he's able to handle it, I think that they're in a good position to continue moving the ball down the field like they have. Darius Monroe also faces a tough test in Rock Taylor. Coming in this year, we knew Rock Taylor could be an option for Memphis' passing attack, but he was at best number 3. He is now number 1, solidified number 1 option for Seth Hennigan. And Monroe is a good cornerback that will give him plenty to work up for. And you're talking about a matchup that could determine the outcome. The offensive line play for Memphis is the biggest one. If they're able to keep Seth Hennigan upright and move the ball down the field, then you're looking at a potentially explosive game for Memphis. It's not that Memphis doesn't have the talent because guys like Rock Taylor, Blake Watson, Seth Hennigan are really good. And Tulane's defense presents plenty of challenges for them. But Tulane also has to match up well with guys like Taylor and Watson. And those are just a handful of guys that will play roles in this game. I think that Memphis also has a front seven that can be explosive. Jalen Allen is one of the most underrated players in college football, and he goes against a Tulane offensive line that's very experienced. They also added talented players like Cameron Wire from the transfer portal, and he'll face Allen, and that could be a big matchup to watch as well. For keys to the game, for Tulane, you have to limit explosive plays. Memphis is very good at getting explosive plays, and sometimes they rely on that too much. But that's something if Tulane takes away, maybe you limit what Memphis can do overall. Creating opportunities, you have to find ways to be explosive. Right now, Jaquan Jackson and Lawrence Keys are very good at being explosive. They're averaging over 20 yards per catch. And now that Michael Pratt is back, you feel like you can get more of those plays. You have to find ways to get to the quarterback too, creating opportunities to get the football back to your offense, getting to the quarterback to Seth Hennigan to disrupt his flow. That will be a big key as well. And then taking care of the football. Memphis is a team that does not need help scoring. So you have to take care of the football. Getting the ball back to Memphis will not give you better opportunities to score and will not give you a good opportunity to win this game. And if you're disruptive on defense, you can only do that for so long before you kind of lose your energy or get tired. So if they can take care of the football, I like Tulane's chances. But if they're sloppy, then you're looking at a game that's very much a back and forth battle. For Memphis, you have to get Blake Watson involved. That should be pretty obvious both in the rushing attack and the passing attack. He is a dual threat in terms of a guy coming out of the backfield. And he is just one of those guys that will make a big impact on this offense. Getting the ball to Rock Taylor is also another key. Rock Taylor has been a fun emergence for this Tigers offense, and his ability to continue being explosive will be fun to watch. I think that this is a group that can make life difficult for Tulane and make the defense definitely sweat a little bit more than have in the past. And one of the things that they need to do is protect Seth Hennigan. We talked about that all week. We'll be talking about it. We've talked about it now. We'll talk about it until the game starts. Protecting Seth Hennigan remains their top priority. And then after that, it's keeping things in front of them defensively. We mentioned that Jaquan Jackson and Lawrence Keys are very explosive. If you keep the passing attack in front of you, you're going to be able to rally to football. You're going to limit explosive plays, and you're going to make sure that the game doesn't get out of hand too quickly. The quarterbacks are fun because both of them have NFL potential. I think Seth Hennigan is the more underrated player here. Michael Pratt has gotten a lot more attention, although he has been hurt for a couple of games. And we just saw him back last week against UAB, and we're waiting for him to showcase his full potential. We know what he's capable of doing. And this year, it feels like he has two guys that stand out over the rest. These are two guys, like I said, that can go back and forth, that are extremely dangerous with the football in their hands. And it'll be fun to see how they can go back and forth and battle with each other. I think that this game has the potential to be explosive. I think the fact, though, that Tulane's defensive line is so disruptive and what they did to Ole Miss and have done all year worries me for Memphis. I'm giving Tulane the win here because I think they get enough stops to limit what Memphis wants to do. And they are just a better team overall. If you throw in the fact that Michael Pratt is back, it feels like this offense will get back on track fairly quickly. It's just a matter of how much Memphis and Seth Hennigan can keep up, because if they can, this will be a really fun game. But with what I've seen from Tulane, they are the better team. And to me, that's enough for them to get the win.